So we've come over to John's today to take another look at the RS3 Sport Quattro RS1, whatever we want to call it. So since last time, done a few bits, haven't you, John? So you've been waiting for some parts from us as well, but you've done this front section here, which closes the grille off. Yeah,
all the detailing around the bumper, the headlights, and basically just tidying up the aesthetics of it, so it kind of looks right and the air flows.
So the air will go in now, it won't come above there, so it will go through the radiators as well.
Yeah, it will just concentrate the airflow on the intercooler and the radiator, which will make it more efficient.
Done the tow hook for us as well, haven't you? That looks like that literally fits perfect through that hole as well.
It does, yeah.
Was that lucky, or is that just...
No, it's by design, that is.
Is that you designed that? Yeah. Well done. So you've modified the original RS3 tow hook and then put like an extension, and that goes into the Wagner intercooler, I believe.
That's it, yeah, there's a aluminium boss, threaded boss.
And that's just happened to be perfect there. So we can now, when it goes to the paint shop, we can have that powder coated black again, and it will look like a factory part. It's even got a part number on it, look.
Yeah.
Is that a John Webster Race Engineering part number? Brilliant. So that's that bit done. Bonnet hinges, these are the original ones, but they'd have to go sort of, they'd encroach into the vehicle at the moment. So we just had a quick look, didn't we, at the boot lid on the Jetta that I came over in. And that's got the, you call it like the double hinge type of thing, hasn't it? So
yeah, when
you lift the bonnet, it'll go forward and up like that rather than just hitting the back of that. If we put a normal hinge, it'll just lift and hit this, won't it?
The original S1 is open underneath the bonnet. From this point you can get to all underneath, so that hinge point is back underneath here.
Yep.
So the bonnet kind of lifts like that and comes away, but if you hinge, because it's got a curve in it,
yep,
if you hinge it anywhere other than the original design, it wants to go back and hit this.
I mean, they do hit anyway normally. The fiberglass bonnets do catch on the back sometimes, so straight away it's going to be better to have what you said where it comes forward and up. So
yeah, so if we start the hinge here,
yep,
and have a double acting hinge,
yep,
it'll
lift it up and over.
Yeah, so
much nicer.
It'll be better all round. Basically.
Yeah, definitely. Because otherwise you've got to make that, you've got to put a section in there which is then going to go into the car, but then that's got to be sealed. Yeah. So you'd have to do a whole box section, then you've got to paint it, and it's just not feasible really. Yeah. I mean, everything's possible, but it just wouldn't be neat.
Yeah, and it'd probably take a week to make it.
Yeah, exactly. The cost involved in that would be huge, isn't it? So whereas putting the other hinges in will be, and it's a better idea. It's a nicer idea to have the bonnet like that because they normally catch anyway. So it's just going to be way better like that. Yeah,
we can just use like a factory Jetta one and adapt the fixings to the chassis and the bonnet so that it kind of looks like it's a factory thing. You know, you won't give it a second glance when it's done.
No, it'll just look like it's meant to be there. Yeah. That's good. So we've also, we dropped off I managed to find the original wiper motor, linkage and everything for this in the box of bits. So we dropped that off and you've modified that, I believe, to fit under here, haven't you?
Yeah, so we tried to use as much of the RS3 steering column support in the shell, which kind of looked like it was going to work, and kind of did until the dash turned up and the wiper turned up. So,
sorry.
And it all clashed. So now we've used elements of both. So basically there's a marriage between all the components, so it all kind of works.
And that all just fits in now. So we've now got the original wiper motor, so then that'll work, and it's the correct angle and everything for the windscreen.
Yep.
And that's sorry, typical. So that's all the correct angle for the windscreen and everything, so that's good. Column is all adjustable still as it was. The seat, I don't know if we had the seat in before, but we've got the seat here now, and that's going to fit on a normal seat adapter for an RS3, and then we can put runners on that, and that will run backwards and forwards. You've sat in the car when we were here last time, and it all sits nice, doesn't it? You can fit the pedals. So
feels natural, yeah. I mean,
it's all adjustable anyway. So.
Yeah, it's pretty much RS3.
Yeah, no, it's no different, are you? Because the floor pan's the same there anyway. So.
Yeah, everything is kind of as it was in the RS3. The only difference you notice is the architecture around you, so the roof line and the
pillars, things like that.
Yeah, the dash height, that sort of stuff. But the actual ergonomics of the wheel, the pedals and the seat all kind of as factory really.
So we've got the doors are on now. They weren't. I don't think they were on last time. I can't remember. But obviously we're not bolted on at the front. We're just placed on at the moment.
Yeah.
They all everything lines up. We just had a quick look. That's all really good. And we talked about harnesses.
Yeah.
So I know that was an afterthought because I didn't tell you about that. And then you made the lovely plate, but then you've made it now so the harnesses can come through here.
Yeah, we've tied the...
You'll be able to see that in a minute. We'll get you a little screw on.
We've tied the rear wheel wells, which is structural. It's got the shock mounts in from the original RS3.
Yep.
But because obviously it's not RS3 and it's not S1,
yep.
We've supplemented the structure as much as practically possible to belt and brace it really.
Make it strong.
So as part of that belt and bracing, there's a strut brace that goes across behind the panel, which provides a platform for the panel to be fixed to as well. But that's like a 10 gauge, 1.5" tube.
Wicked.
So that's allowed us to fix brackets behind the panel that are flush with the panel.
So you can
take a harness mount.
Put a little hole in it,
literally,
and then it will have a little loop on there that you can hook on.
Yeah, literally punch a hole through the panel. It touches the back of the panel,
yeah,
and you can put your harness loops on and put.
Excellent. Yeah, that'll be really good because the original factory cars came with an optional Saybelt, I think it was, red harness kit.
Okay.
So the original. So some of the cars had the red harnesses in. I think it was an option when you bought it.
Oh, right.
So I thought it'd be a good idea. That's why we kind of said if we do the red belts like that, it will look like a factory car. So that'd be really good. So then we've done. So if we move down the car, we talked about the prop loop, which you've now done. Was it how you thought it was going to be?
Well, we thought because where the car, as we said before, where the cars had the 16 inches taken out of it, to join the two bits together, we made 8 thick bulkhead to marry it all together, and that was complete right the way across the car. It still needed relief in it for the prop shaft to go through.
You were going to bore a hole in it, weren't you?
Yeah, we were going to bore a hole in it and sleeve it, but it didn't actually work out that we could do that.
Okay.
There's a couple of just
architecturally wrong, or
not more like coordination type thing. So I cut the tunnel out as the profile, but then made a bottom structure that goes back onto it.
So it's like basically a removable plate. Oh, perfect.
So originally we were going to cut a hole in it to maintain the structure, the whole structure, which we couldn't do. So we cut it out and then replaced that. So we've still got the same kind of structural requirement.
Is that a boltable thing?
No, it's a welded in.
It's welded in thing. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So that's basically up to the middle of the car. Then if you come down here, Axel, then I gave you a fuel flap from we got from competition suppliers so that the car can still be filled up as factory. So that's like an aero fuel cap or whatever, and you've made a metal insert behind, haven't you?
Yeah.
That goes in, and then that will then be mounted into the shell. Well, the body shop will have to obviously make that work, and then but that's all in now, so you could basically fill up there with the fuel. That will then be made to go through to the tank in the back, so we can just fill it up like normal. It's nice to have that underneath. That I think that was actually, these were like when they did the cars, they were like a bit Heath Robinson. They weren't that nicely made on the original cars, I don't think.
I was trying to figure out how they made it actually, because it looks like it's
like
it's fiberglass or something because it's so thick. It's
very, very thick, yeah.
And the hinge that's attached to it, it's kind of. It's like,
I think it might have been the original hinge.
It's like steel with fiberglass
cover
on it.
I wonder if they've got the original hinge that goes that way, and then they've basically glued the fiberglass part that comes from the body kit people onto it, maybe.
Yeah,
or something.
It's the way it's actually the hinges are fixed to it. It's like it's a bit Mickey Mouse.
Yeah,
it's a bit like.
Well, we'll get the guys at the body shop to make that a bit nicer.
Yeah, once it's all squared away, it'll be all
good.
Right.
And then we've got the fuel tanks now in the back. Watch out for this Capri. And the battery you've done as well by the looks of things.
Yeah.
So tank, that's basically the ATL like tank holder in effect, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a plastic tank, and that's like it's not like a bulkhead, but it will sit inside that and then attach in it. So you welded some mounting points on, I think.
Yeah, basically some. We put 2 bits of angle alley down each side of the tank and welded that on, and then that bolts through structurally into the floor.
So that's, I mean, that's actually, and size-wise, we talked over the phone, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it was like, hopefully this is going to fit, but it looks like we've got spare ½ inch.
Yeah, it's a sensible sized tank for the road, and there's just about enough space to still have a bit of boot space.
Tank, isn't it?
60 litre.
60 litres. I mean, an original Quattro did have an awfully big tank in it, but you know, an RS3. I think it's a 45 litre tank. I don't think it's that big. Okay. For a 50 litre tank, it's not a big tank at all. So, you know, that's probably bigger than the original RS3 tank anyway. Yeah. So that makes it better. And then the battery appears to have fitted nicely in the original battery place anyway. Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah, and you've ended up with quite a decent amount of boot space as well. So it's still right a practical car for the road.
Definitely. Well, I mean, you could actually put in here, looking in there, you could actually get a space saver wheel in, because the original Quattro had the wheel in the side here like this, and it was in an awkward angle. Okay. And had like a strap over it. So you could actually get the space saver. It looks like it'd probably go in there if you wanted to put one in anyway, because obviously this would run a different style wheel to the Quattro, because the 15-inch Quattro wheel won't go over the brakes, so it'll be like a big space saver what they run. But I mean, this will probably end up with some tyre weld and a pump instead, but we'll see. So that's it. So what else? So the last thing to do before we get it back is bonnet hinges then.
Yeah, just fit the bonnet,
and then that's it.
And retain and sort out a retaining system like aero catch type deal or something.
Oh, for the bonnet?
For the front.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. I need to, I think we should put it how it was originally with the white bonnet. You'd do that. Can you do that for us? Yeah. Yeah, and then you can make something for those to sit in. That'd be better. But the problem is these bonnets because they're fiberglass. When they build them, some of the bonnets come with like a nut glued into the bonnet, and then it has like a spring, like with a when it's got the spring and a washer, and that clicks into the front panel. But at high speed, because they flex and the air gets them, they just literally tear off the top section or tear off the bottom section. So the only way to really stop that is to try and find an original bonnet, which is Kevlar or very well welded together, it's glued together. But there's so much money. I think it's just, an original bonnet back in the day was 12 grand in 1986. It's 12,000 quid. When you look at the original pricing, that's how much it was then. So if you find one now, I mean, it's just going to be. I do know someone that's got an original bonnet in Northern Ireland unused, but I bet he'd want 20, 30 grand for it. So it's just, that's not happening on this project. So. Yeah. But so that would look. I think aero catchers will look nice on it, especially with the colour it's going to be. So and then it'll probably suit the car, to be fair. So it's going to have that that nice look.